Hmm.
So
Um, Max B's home. Harlem legend. He did 17 years. Big East Coast star. Um, do you know any Max B records? Do you know who
never,
he is?
nigga. I never heard of him. I'm 48 years old. I am a hip hop expert. His music have never been played outside of New York. We don't know who Max B is. Don't know who he is, what he home for. Don't know what he was in prison for. Nigga, we from the South. And in the South, we've never connected to anything outside of Jay-Z, uh, Nas, Jada Kiss, Biggie, LL Cool J, Max B's and Jim Jones. I fuck with Jim Jones by way of Dipset now. But nigga, it was more Joel Santana was the Jim and the rest of them niggas was background singers. You know, the Joel was the Cameron came cause Cameron had the niche with the pink fly. The rest of them were just props. Yeah, they were fly in Harlem. But to the rest of the world, them niggas props, homie.
It's your boy Fast Cool. I'm gonna need y'all to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Understand what I'm saying to y'all? We got a situation to talk about. All right, we got to talk about Max Bigavell. The boy's continuing to crush the internet streets. He's continuing to sell out shows. The boy is silver surfing through America right now. Well, they're just saying on the East Coast. Your boy Charleston White got real crazy with the mouthpiece, as he always does. Charleston White believes that Southern artists can outsell East Coast artists. Primarily New York, because he refers to the East Coast like it's just New York, which New York is probably the biggest city on the East Coast. But there's a lot of other things going on the East Coast, like Boston. You got Providence, you got Hartford, Connecticut, you got what else you got? You got New Hampshire. There's a lot of things going on the East Coast now. You got Baltimore. That's the East Coast too. Now, my whole thing is this, baby. Where y'all niggas get the style from? You feel me? Like, let's go into the archives of hip hop. Let's go to the places that they may not know about today. Let's time travel. All right? Hip hop was created on the East Coast. And if it wasn't for the East Coast, you down south artists would probably be country singers. Yeah, y'all be talking about Old Town Road and talking about riding horses and saddle up and giddy up and yeah, Captain, with a piece of hay in your mouthpiece. You understand me? If it wasn't for the Bronx, New York, if it wasn't for the DJs, if it wasn't for, let's actually give you guys some names of where it started at. You know, I want to say somebody like Rakim, Big Daddy Kane. You understand me? But let's actually go. Who created hip hop? Who created? Let's go. Hip hop. Let's get it. The first thing that comes up, first name is DJ Kool Herc, a Jamaican immigrant named Clive Campbell, is widely credited with creating hip hop, specifically the musical technique known as the breakbeat at a party. So that was when the DJ would play a record and there'll be a certain part of the record that had a bounce to it and he would spin it back. And he'll focus on this spot, which will create its own beat. And then people would start dancing even more at this specific point that we now call the breakbeat. So now we have beats, right? Then people will start rapping on it. All right. We also got to credit other pioneers like Grandmaster Flash and Africa Bambaataa. You understand me? This is an East Coast thing. You have Caribbean people who moved to New York in the 70s, in the 60s, the 50s, whenever they did, however old they were when they actually moved is irrelevant. But it was created in the 70s in the Bronx. Okay, Yes, Atlanta is running. I can't even say Atlanta. We're gonna say the South because you got artists like Big XL, Future, NBA Young Boys. That's true. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got that. Y'all got that. Y'all on fire. Y'all got Gunners and stuff like that. Young Thugs, Migos, and the list goes on. Two Chainz, Rick Rosses. You feel me? I get it. Kodak Blacks. I get it. I do get it. But we're the ones who freed the slaves. We created the wave. Now, speaking about the wave, Mr. Charleston White, he wanted to talk crazy about Max Bean, talking about, oh, we don't know this nigga. Who is this nigga? We don't play this nigga. I can't tell you what this nigga went to jail for. I can't tell you how long he been in jail. I am a hip hop expert. We know nothing about Max B. Then he wanted to talk about Pimp C, what Pimp C had to say, talking about niggas don't listen to no BS from up north. You understand me? And then he mentioned what I just mentioned previously. Says he pretty much said if we put artists from the South records on one side of the store, and then we put artist records from the North on one side of the store, who's gonna outsell? Who's gonna sell the most? And he more so was insinuating that Southern artists are gonna outsell Northern rappers, and that is debatable. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this, right? The thing that separates Max B from the typical East Coast Northeastern artist, hip hop artist, excuse me, is the fact that he was one of the first East Coast artists to experiment. And when I mean experiment, he was one of the first to try something that was taboo, something that was unorthodox, something that wasn't being done. He was harmonizing. He was, using melodies. He isn't the first to do it, but in its raw form, in a rare form, in his own style, which he became famous for, which we loved before artists like Young Thug and Future. You got to understand, like, he set the tone, bro. You know what I'm saying? At least for this generation. You know what I'm saying? The generation before him, that's a conversation you got to have with him. But I can only speak for my generation. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't Max B, it was Bone Thugs and Harmony. You smell me? Those are the first people that I can actually say were harmonizing. And Bone Thugs did it in such a way, and they're from the Midwest. They're from Ohio. You understand me? But as far as the East Coast, you got to give credit to Max, and if you think about the artists that are extremely successful, they all harmonize. From Migos to Future, NBA Youngboy. Who else? Even does Big XL harmonize? Not too sure, but Raw Wave. You feel me? Like you got this singing rap uh combination. That's where it's really at. A lot of New York artists ain't doing that. You understand me? A lot of down south artists aren't doing it either, but the ones that excel in the industry are the ones who are willing to play around with the melody. You understand? So, you know, and then I also want to, speak on what this man had to say about Pimp C. Ain't nobody tripping about no Pimp C. You feel me? I'm gonna be completely honest with you. When he did that record with Jay-Z, I'm gonna look up the name of it because I don't even remember. It's an old record. Jay-Z and Pimp C record. Pimp C song. Big Pimpin'. You understand me? So, Pimp C had to get on that because, Jay-Z wasn't no P. He was just rapping. Pimp C was actually a P. You smell me? And only reason we know up north, the only reason we know Pimp C is because of this record. We wasn't playing no Pimp C facts. We don't know nothing about no Pimp C. If anybody, we was bumping Bun B because he kind of got more of a sound that, resembles East Coast music. You feel me? Even though he slows it down, his delivery style, could pass if he just, wanted to rap on Eastern beats. He could, you know what I'm saying? So we wasn't bumping no Pimp C. I'm gonna keep it a Blueface with y'all. But, Scarface is a different story. You understand me? Scarface is a different story. You feel me? I give y'all credit on Scarface. Scarface is one of the greats. And also Outkast, But in terms of like Atlanta, Outkast was the first to kick the door in. You feel me? Then you got Ludacris who came in after that, and a couple other people like Gucci Mane and Jeezy, stuff like that. Crime Mob, they had their moment. a couple artists were getting there, 15 minutes of fame, Shawty Lowe's, T.I.'s. Now T.I. actually is a great, but rest in peace to Shawty Lowe. But y'all get what I'm saying, you feel me? Like, if it wasn't for Up North, none of this would have been possible. We created the wave, bro. We created the origin of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Now, y'all took it and, put your own twist on it, you feel me, from your culture, which is respected. But you can't get lost in the sauce, man. You can't forget where y'all come from. You understand me? Because if it wasn't for hip hop, you got to think about it. It wouldn't be as many black millionaires, bro. A lot of black millionaires profited off the hip hop entertainment system. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's an artist, whether it's an executive, you got P. Diddy. Like, if it wasn't for hip hop, where would people get in? Where would they get their money? Where would their opportunity come from to even be in a position to deal with the largest amounts of, revenue from ticket sales and album sales and, whatever other way there was possibilities of being compensated for the art form of hip hop in those times. Records, ringtones, you feel me? Like, this is pre-monetization. You feel me? Like, I'm saying you had to get paid by, record labels, I'm saying, that throw you to events and radio spins and stuff like that, royalties. So, I want y'all to really understand, man, like it's like Bruce Lee, bro. You understand me? Like Bruce Lee. You feel me? Like, is Bruce Lee a good example? Let me look up Bruce Lee, y'all. I'm sorry. But whoever made Jeet Kune Do, who made Jeet Kune Do? Who created it? Bruce Lee. There we go. Bruce Lee made Jeet Kune Do, the way of intercepting fish. Now you got a bunch of people who going, do their thing with the Jeet Kune Do. They may add a little twist and stuff like that, but ultimately you gotta respect the founder. You understand me? Like, nobody's bigger than that. You understand me? Because without him, it wouldn't be possible. So that's what New York is. That's what the East Coast is to hip hop. You feel me? This is where it was originated. So you can't really speak crazy, man. You know what I mean? So I just had to break that down for y'all. You understand? Now, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about Max B in a separate video. But yeah, man, we got waves going on the East Coast. We're trying to come back heavy. French Montana and Max B just announced their new project. And it looks like everyone's getting behind it. You know what I mean? We want to see the East Coast back in position. So I think everyone's on the same page and they feel like Max B, with the assistance of French Montana, has the potential to bring the wave back, man. You know what I mean? We need it. You know what I mean? We need it to come back. He got a lot of music already about to come out, and he got the classic catalog. So he's good to go. You know what I mean? So we're going to have new music and old music in rotation. It's lit. You know what I mean? It's super lit. So yeah, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe to the channel. The Crib!